Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and our next Nightreign Things You Didn't Know episode. As usual, I'm presenting a few tips and tricks and interesting details, maybe weird things you might not have known about for fun. So let's just jump in with the first thing. Everyone knows about the ultimate of Executor being particularly good, and a fun fact is that the skin actually changes depending on what garb you're currently wearing. But there is something you can do to enhance the power of this ultimate. During a Night Lord fight, maybe your team goes down and you need a way to guarantee clutch them back up. This works even if they're a 3-bar. It's the simple consumable Iron Jar Aromatic, which as it states, raises your defense but lowers mobility. So the problem with this is as you take it, I now am forced to walk around like this. If I try and roll, you'll see that I'm fat rolling. So it's actually quite a good thing if you're just doing counters with, say, Executor. It means you're going to pay for missing the counter a lot less, and we're already walking slowly with this anyway. And you're not looking to roll, you're looking to parry. So it actually doubles up as a really useful thing for Executor in general. But here's a fun fact. As I pop this and go into my ultimate form, you can see that I am a metal wolf as well. And you might wonder, am I going to be slowed down because of the Iron Jar effect? Nope, not at all. So this can be a great thing for just using the wolf form and getting to trade for completely free, massively reducing the damage you're taking, but also giving you that complete freedom to spam raw or combo attack you downed allies while the boss tries to do nothing to you. You got double health anyway, so it works as a fantastic thing. Where are you going to find Iron Jar Aromatics in any reliable way? Well, the best source of them for me is the treasure chests, which we've been mentioning recently. Obviously, there's that meta relic that gives us that bonus to dealing with jails and shows us where treasure is at the same time. So if you go open those treasures, the chance of you getting one of these aromatics or multiple of them is actually really high. And this one isn't even a rare one. So that'd be what I recommend for that. Be aware you can also get 2 of them in one slot, so it's not one and then one slot being taken up, further enhancing this concept. There is also the leaden hard tier, which boosts your poise, which is nice as its own thing. As you can see, it's still going to give me that poise, but it doesn't last very long, obviously, and poise doesn't really matter for the wolf. Next up, let's go for some Revenant focused tips, thanks to a solid post from the Reddit user Pineapple Manny. Here's just some of my favorite tips from that post. There's more there for you to go check out if you'd like, but I'm also going to have my own add-ons to this and some others I'm going to add on top. Let's start with our starting weapon, the Revenant's Cursed Claws, and some interesting properties about this. If we take a look at it, you can see that only Revenant can make proper use of this weapon, due to a resonance with the spiritual. Other characters are just going to have a blunt instrument that's not going to work properly. Now, it's said in that post that there's bonus revival damage because of this spiritual nature of this weapon. So if you're unaware and you still have this basic starting weapon in your starting setup, swap to it before you go to revive a downed ally, and you'll be able to do it a lot quicker. But there's some really weird stuff to do with this weapon. The fact that they're cold claws, but then they're a fist weapon in terms of tag. So if you're looking to relic boost this up, you need a fist boosting relic specifically. It does a mix of strike and slash damage for the raw physical damage. It does actually do physical damage, but not a lot. Its main damage source is insanely magic. Instead of holy or maybe even lightning, with its S scaling faith and 0 scaling from intelligence, it's doing magic damage. So these claws are actually fist weapons, and I know they're a faith weapon, but they actually do magic damage. Obviously the best way to use them is not actually in one hand, but two hand. As you can see, it's much more effective combo. You're getting multiple attacks off at once, and this is going to be a much better way to actually bring up your allies. Here's an important detail to do with our starting seal. It comes with the basic heal. If you tap the heal, it just comes out as soon as the circle hits, as usual. Be aware though, just like Elden Ring, you can hold the button to hold the heal so your allies can run into you, and then you can send it out after a delay. Why this is interesting is because of the Revenant enemy types, which just like in normal Elden Ring, are actually vulnerable to this healing effect. So if you come across a Royal Revenant, which can be a night boss, probably night 1, what it does is a burst of damage and causes a mini stun. So the animation doesn't take long, it's got quite the long range to it. So while the starting seal isn't the best because there's no offensive incantation for some reason, the heal can actually be really impactful. This is one of my favorite lines for running Revenant. Trigger Ghost Flame Explosion during your ultimate art activation. This effect, just like your basic claws, is magic damage. And what it is a big AoE on your ultimate, blowing up in this explosive ghost flame. This is a huge AoE around yourself and can be absolutely devastating to trio enemies like Gladius in the second phase. And since that's going to be a hard mode boss coming up soon, maybe Revenant's going to be great in that fight. But multi-boss fights, that big AoE, it's super strong. Here's another quick fact to do with Revenant for me here. You can run up to your own summons and bounce off them to do jumping attacks, or say proper plunge attacks with heavies. If you're doing a fun build where, you got a big weapon on Revenant, you want to do a bunch of jump or plunge attacks, it can help you reach a little bit higher by using the backs of your summons. Obviously it works with Sebastian there, but it's also the same for Frederick. You can bounce off him too. In terms of tips for your summons, Sebastian is actually a very good reviver. You can plonk him down basically next to a downed friend and let him do his thing. But be aware that summons seem to try to match what you're doing, so maybe it's a good idea to land a few hits on your downed enemy when you put Sebastian down, so he knows he's supposed to be doing that. But be aware that he does an AoE roar that works great for revival, even if he isn't targeting the right ally. As long as he's near enough to them, the roar will help bring them up. Meanwhile, Frederick is actually going to be a great stagger build-up tool and help you get those criticals. But he's also great at drawing aggro, so spreading out from him is good for DPS. Helen is actually the most evasive and fast attacking option of the three, and if she attacks consistently, she can deal more damage in a shorter time than either of the other summons, despite being the least popular. The problem is she's kind of inconsistent. My advice is try to summon her when you're up close and already basically smacking the target, encouraging her to do the same. There's also a good rule to desummon your summons when you're not fighting. When they're not active, they get the healing, so managing when they're out and when they're getting healing can keep them alive and actually useful longer. One other tip is if you do have aggro, maybe move into summons so they can actually deal damage while you're rolling around, and maybe the enemy will swap to them, giving you space. Next up, a quick tip for the Guardian players. Did you know that there are some spells and incantations that are going to be particularly potent for you? Firstly, we have the spell, Scholar's Shield. It enchants your shield with additional damage negation. Just be aware that you need to actually have your shield equipped so you can do it. So as we use this spell, it basically enhances the shield, and as you can see, it's got this blue effect. So now I'm taking significantly less damage while blocking, allowing me to take ridiculously heavy hits or taking nasty stamina hits, basically making me a bit more of a tank even with the starting shield. So staffs are not completely useless to you. But then there's also incantations like Immutable Shield. Enchanting the shield with the Light of Regression, increasing all forms of non-physical damage negation and ailment resistance as well. So with this incantation, you're going to be able to deal with non-physical attacks. Imagine, say, the massive holy nuke of hard mode Fulgor. We're going to be dealing soon with the magic nuke and sleep build-up of the various attacks of Augur. This can help you deal with non-physical massive super attacks from the bosses. So just something to look for and maybe pass to your Guardian if you find it. Right, speaking of the hard mode bosses and how we're going to have 4 come up pretty soon, I figured that we'll give you some tips to do with them. Basically, when you've got Animus in the Moth, it has one super attack where it kind of sporadically flaps its wings like crazy and spreads these red lasers out on your location. If you target the Moth and simply chase after it, you can just run forward by holding a normal sprint, not a surge sprint. You'll have enough stamina to keep up and stay under it, completely avoiding the attack the entire time, leaving you right where it lands for some great DPS, as shown by this footage. Next, we have this Raider footage from Steve Minikura on Twitter, who basically used the boulder of Raider to completely outrange poor old Gladius in his triple form, literally just being up and too high for them to reach, and so using any range attacks from up here is just free DPS. So probably for the opening of the new Gladius fight, when it's probably starting in trio based on what we should expect, popping up on here with an Iron Eye or any range attacks like we're seeing here could be an easy way to get to the new phase. What about one for the upcoming hard mode Libra? Well, there was this great example from GoodGamer7274 on Reddit, who about a week back showed how the Ice Storm cocktail is ridiculously effective at breaking all the sigils at once. Since it's ticking damage all around you, you're able to get every damn sigil, even the ones in the air, with one cast of this thing. I recommend saving this until later in the fight then, when you're going to have more sigils to deal with and probably not able to break through. You can also break through this shield by just using Wilder or Raider ult on enough stance build up, but when you're facing like the third one, it's going to be a bit too much. Having a Recluse with this spell saved could be key. If you are looking to do that cocktail, then be aware that you're going to need a mix of Holy, Lightning, and of course the basic magic. Once you have these three, you'll see that it's this kind of ice crystal, and then this causes the iframes and the big ticking AoE around yourself. So it takes a bit to get that up, but if you're working with your team, you should be fine to do so. Here's some quick references to chest locations that I've mentioned recently, so very quickly. Be aware that there's like 5 big chests you can get in the castle. There's one up top just outside the main big room where you would then go up to the big boss on the roof. When you drop down from there, down into the courtyard, you've got the big chests and 2 small or normal chests next to it. In the courtyard, super easy. Then if you jump over the gap over the river as if you're going to exit the castle through the main gate, but turn right, this is the most southern eastern point of the castle, by the way. There's this broken tower, which you can climb up the wall or say the rubble on the side of the wall to get up to. And here is 3 large chests, which is pretty damn amazing. The other thing is the fact that there's a big chest on a normal fort height that I was unaware of until recently. So where you go up to the top where you would fight the night boss, if that was the one, next to the big chest that's just up there on the side of the wall, when turning around to the side of you, there's going to be this tower that you can actually jump up onto, and up on top is hidden a large chest. It's been way too long since I realized this week. Here's just a random question for you. You have the starting urn. You have the goblet that you might unlock through, say, your remembrance or purchasing. And then the chalice, vice versa. And then you have these different grails you can buy at the jar shop. You've got triple yellow, triple green, triple blue. But why isn't there a triple red? It's something that's been annoying me, and it's been brought up on Reddit, so I figured I'd mention it. For whatever reason, there is not one of these grails that you can purchase for that. At least not at the small jar bazaar. Meanwhile, if you go to the collector signboard and look at the catalogue, you're going to see just familiar urn shapes or colours in just different orders for the purpose of managing which armament has what starting bonus and Ashes of War. But no triple colours here either. It might be that it's just an oversight and they've just not realised that they've not done that. But there's like that light copium that in the next hard set of bosses they're going to introduce new rewards. Maybe they'll do the triple red, so keep your eye out for that. There's plenty of characters that's going to be insane for. If not, maybe the hard mode of the final boss also, or they've just completely overlooked this. Either way, just keep your eye out for it. It'll be a big deal when they drop it, if they do. Last fun just thing to look at. Be aware that grab attacks can grab multiple targets, as shown by this clip from Hal Indenza on Reddit, as all 3 of them were grabbed by the grab of Abductor Virgin, which, as they were level 1 or 2, is an instant death for all of them. Fantastic gameplay. Thank you for sharing this. Very brave. But this does mean you can intentionally roll into grab attacks and trigger that special animation in Nightreign, which will cause stagger build-up. If multiple people, all 3 of you, do this at once, it could lead to a sudden stagger and critical. If you're willing to take that risk, could be good. But yeah, there you have it. That's our latest episode complete. I hope there was a few things there you didn't know. As usual though, if you want to add anything to these topics, or maybe make a suggestion for next time, let us know in the comments. If we do talk about it, I'll be sure to credit you. But until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.